Now this will tell us. And that's pretty conclusive. Still going. Close. I think he got it down.
How strong is he?
Thank you for joining us once again, punters. We're fired up here, ready to bring you another week of the Pick and Go Rugby podcast. And no one is more fired up this morning than Paul Moati. Paul, how are you?
Good.
Like I said, the energy is just dripping around here. And very pleased to welcome back to the podcast after a few weeks sabbatical, Richard Laddie. Richard, how are you?
Yeah, good to be back. I was feeling a bit down before I came in here, but I just walked in the room and just feeling Paul's energy. It's really picked me up. I'm excited for another feature on the Pick and Go.
That's good, because I'm not going to lie, you might have to carry the podcast with the energy today. It seems like, I'm going to be doing a lot of the heavy lifting to my right here. So we'll hopefully something will fire Paul up and that'll get the juices flowing, but we'll see how it goes.
A big dog now with those ECN the slots, I think it's too good for things like this. But
We're getting close to lunchtime. I shouldn't be in here.
We're not getting close to lunchtime.
We're getting close to my lunchtime.
First lunchtime, maybe. Anyway, speaking of maybe lacking a bit of energy, I think we've got to go straight on to the first Springboks Lions test.
We failed.
We did, yeah. The Pick and Go curse is strong enough to take down the world champs. We asked the question on Facebook over the weekend, and it certainly proved to be the case. What were your sort of takeaways from the first test, Paul?
First of all, I think Alan Wynne-Jones was a huge plus for the Lions. And I thought the forward pack as a whole probably outplayed the Springboks over the whole 80 minutes. They had a great game plan. They identified a weakness in the Springboks, and they exposed that a number of times. Putting the high ball up, box kicks.
How did they not see that coming? Like, I don't know, yeah. It's
it was frustrating.
It seems simple, right? But I don't know what your takeaways are, Rassie. But yeah, it seemed like that game, other than the result, pretty much went to script, right? It was two large forward packs bashing into each other like a couple of rhinos or something, and then whoever could catch more of the box kicks sort of came out on top. But
yeah, exactly. It was just a grind, wasn't it? And it's just a shame, like there's so much potential in that sort of both back lines. There's a lot of excitement, but the way that the game plan sort of laid out probably for the series is that it's going to be one of those real grinds. It's going to be, as you say, two big fullbacks smashing it up, and we'll see what happens this weekend, whether South Africa can get one back and take it to 3.
Yeah, it will be interesting. I don't know what the sort of, we'll see too many tactical changes, right? You get the feeling both these coaching staffs are pretty set in their ways in terms of liking to play that attritional
grind the other team down.
Yeah. I guess, do we have to talk about the refereeing decisions, or do we going to leave that to our friend Jaco Johan on Twitter to...
Will Rassie be running the water in the second test, or will he be too busy on social media?
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I hope we see him.
Jaco Johan, I love that.
Like in the end zone with just his camera phone out, sort of taking shots of Lions guys off their feet at breakdowns or something like that. It's you got to say it is a fairly...
That's it. He'll have a GoPro on, won't he? So that he can identify all of the infringements that the Lions make.
He'll just be up on a harness over the field like Spider Cam, sort of following everything around, I reckon.
Spider Erasmus.
Yeah. Oh, you got to admire the ingenuity, I think. Like,
it's brilliant.
Ian Foster would never be running a burner account. I'd say that much. So.
Yeah, I don't even know if he'd know.
Even if he was, he'd give it away in about 2 days somehow. He'd be tweeting from the official All Blacks account accidentally with just these clips that somehow they got from a coach's footage without any scores or anything added
he's
to it.
He's just a good guy, funny guy,
Yeah, he's a big supporter of the Springboks. Really, just wants to,
things he does.
Just wants to see good, honest rugby, and none of this shenanigans around the breakdown. So,
it's the sort of thing you expect in rugby league, And the rugby union's always a bit more of a sort of structured and responsible sport. But,
could we see
I love to see it.
Coaching in the NRL.
Well, after all the success Steve Henson's had, the Bulldogs this year,
they've got some great culture there. Great
teams
culture.
are lining up. They've got, added Paul Vaughan. The barbecues are just going to be.
Oh, look out next season.
No,
anyway, back to
but switching over to the 30-man code quickly. Which NRL coach do you reckon would be most likely to be running a burner account at the moment?
Wow, Nathan Brown.
No, that's he's in the Foster. Yeah, that'd just be it'd be like at Bathan Round or something. That's what he'd call it, I reckon. I reckon Bellamy's got at least 10 or 12 going. Just absolutely slating officials. One of them's just dedicated to Henry Perenara.
They've probably got a whole division.
Oh yeah,
at the Storm, just absolutely dedicated to burner accounts.
Yeah,
you reckon?
All the wrestling coaches they brought out from the States when they're allowed to get away with like pinning guys down the rucks and everything have been reassigned to the burner account and fake penalties division probably. But yeah, I don't know. I don't want to raise Craig Bellamy's eyes. Probably the one scarier man than Rassie Erasmus when he really gets going. If you've seen some of Rassie's pre-game speeches from the 2019 World Cup.
He seems like a nice guy.
Oh yeah, I think he's very self-aware of it. Like it's all a bit wink, nudge, nudge, sort of. Like he knows what's going on, but
like those comments this week when he was asked about it are just brilliant.
Yeah,
and just sort of just taking it so well, and
the
I
thing
know,
is,
it's kind of taking a bit of attention. You know, I don't know whether I saw someone say sort of like like he's done brilliantly here. He's taken the attention away from the game and the players, and it's all on him. So there's no stress on the players this week. I don't know whether I believe that, but like it's kind of, no one's talking about this. Well, look at us. We're talking about this.
We're not talking about the Springboks losing or any of the Springbok shortfalls. It's all about Jaco Johan and his very well produced videos. Like, but the thing is, like, it's also as much as they might deny it is going to be in the minds of the IRB now. They're going to be aware that like this sort of stuff is out there, and if a referee does have a shocker, they're going to have some Premier Pro expert in the Springbok backroom cutting up all these clips, and they're going to it's almost a good way to put officials on blast because there's very definitive evidence there, and some it's obviously selective viewing and all that, but it's not just like
Was it just the one video, the one of
I think it
Colby
has
being picked up, or was you?
No, there's a minute 20 mix here if you look through it. Oh yeah,
I love the yellow circles.
Yeah,
brilliant.
And then you get back, and there's sort of like the advantages, and they've been timed down to the second and everything like that. It's just a great video work, to be fair, if nothing else. So
we taught them how to use Premiere Pro.
Yeah, we might have to get on a course with them. The editing on this podcast we need some big circles around each of us when we're talking. Something I reckon that'd be the way to go. But like we said, it does all come down really for the Springboks too this weekend, back at Cape Town Stadium, same time, same place, 7 days later. They're going to have to do something like Twitter videos are only going to get them so far. They need to produce some results on the field. The real notable changes for them, obviously, the two props. They've brought in Malherbe and Kits off. I don't know if that's to shore things up at scrum time. Maybe they see a chance to exploit the lines there, especially with Marco Vunipola being brought in for Wyn Jones, who I think did his shoulder, or he was dealing with a bit of an injury that he was likely to miss the test all week. So
I'm thinking out the box here. How about we give the ball to Colby?
It's wild.
That's a insane. They'll never go for it. Yeah.
Every time he got the ball, though, he's just so slippery, and you'd love to see it. Just,
I think they're more likely to fit Dwayne Vermeulen with a bionic ankle than they are to get Chesley Colby more than about 4 touches in a game. Yeah, because I imagine we're going to see a lot of the same from the Lions, right? Like the box kick plan worked, so it's going to be pin the Springboks back and turn them around. They don't have maybe the ball carriers that they had in the World Cup without Vermeulen there, especially, who was so key in getting them out of their own end against England. So
I'm hoping that all week the Springboks have been practicing defending the box kick.
Well, you
think they would have
got a good box kicker in
Pollard?
Well, they've got a prolific box kicker.
Yeah.
De Klerk, certainly. But I'd sort of maybe like to see them, when they do manage to field some of them, use the talent you've got in your backline, maybe make the lines a bit more wary about kicking to you in space, because if we do, maybe Lacanio Arm or Mapimpi or someone might actually get free and shirk through a few tackles. But
let's hope they chance their own. We want to see the third test mean something. So
yeah, and I think back to the series 12 years ago, and it really was. The first test was classic Lions South Africa struggle, and that second test was one of the great tests really, when the Lions had to get and throw the ball around a bit. Stephen Jones had a blinder up in Loftus, and then we saw, was it Brian Habana scored that great try late on to bring things back. So hopefully maybe it'll follow once we get into the second half, and if the Springboks do sense the series slipping away from them, or the Lions, or maybe they've turned the table and the Lions have to go to plan B, could get a bit interesting, but you never know. What do you make of the, I suppose, the two big changes for the Lions, Rassie, other than the prop, which we already touched on? Connor Murray's coming back into the starting 9 jersey, and then Chris Harris replacing, was it Elliot Daly out on the wing? Do you think that's the Lions realising they're going to have to be a bit more expensive themselves this week?
I think so. I mean, Connor Murray looks like a big end, doesn't he? Like, I mean, he'll it's interesting, when you think of the game plan, it obviously worked, but bring Connor Murray in, I think he's going to add a lot more. And then Chris Harris, did he play in the first test?
Was he on the bench? No, he wasn't even on the bench. He played in the South Africa A game. They carried the ball quite well. Yeah, I think maybe that's recognition they do need to maybe strand the ball up a bit in midfield more, because Elliot Daly, he's a bit more of an outside back. I heard on another podcast last week that he'd only actually started one test in 13 jersey for England in his international career prior to last week. So it was
kind of bizarre selection, that one. But it makes I think both of them make sense.
Yeah. I think Connor Murray takes so much pressure off Dan Bigger in that 10 jersey. He essentially, because he plays almost that 9.5 role, where he can be essentially your pivot as well, and you can run a lot of the attack around him, and Bigger can sort of float around out the back and do Dan Bigger things. So, as a whole, I think both teams probably look a little bit more impressive on paper. I still think the Springboks have further to go in terms of the improvement from last week, but it's not really sure. The odds, though, South Africa back out ever so slight underdogs at $2.03. Was what you saw last week enough to scare you off from backing the Springboks again?
I'm happy to take them again at the 203. Yep.
So I can hear shrieks from Cape Town as we start saying this there.
Stop it. Don't do it. Leave us alone. No, they weren't that far away. And
it was only a 5-point game, wasn't it?
Yes.
So
and the Lions, they really played well, the Lions. Their game plan was to a point. So I think the Springboks can get better. I think they will get better, especially defensively. And I'm sure that they'll have, if the Lions do revert to the box kicks, they'll have some counter-attack systems in place.
I think, for me, you can't really see the box kick strategy going much better for the Lions than it did last week, right? And the other big change I forgot to mention before is they're back to the 6-2 split on the bench, which served them so well in the World Cup. And I think that's a direct recognition. Like that sort of got to the last 20 on Sunday morning, and you say, here you go, like the Springboks are going to roll over the top of them now, as they always do. And they couldn't quite get that final punch that they maybe had.
They looked a wee bit tired.
Yeah, they didn't.
They haven't had a lot of test match rugby, to be fair.
Don't have a lot of minutes in their legs, but just adding that extra punch on the bench, I think, the back line's really not going to be too tired from maybe the 3 carries they've each had in the first 60 or 70 minutes. So if I had to pick, it's obviously going to be another tight game, but the South Africa 1-12 at 263 looks pretty attractive to me. I thought maybe they would chance around a bit more on the first test, but we'll see now that's not going to happen. So be very surprised if they get outside that 12-point margin.
I'm similar. So I'd probably just head-to-head as far as a best bet goes, but if it's, I can't see it yet being 13 plus from what we saw last week. So the South Africa head-to-head 203, and then it's just a 1-12, 263, just a little bit more. But both of them would be where I was looking. They weren't far off. They're only within 5 points. And I'm expecting a pretty similar game. It'll be tough and it'll be tight and close. But South Africa, I mean, they've got plenty to play for. They'll be desperate to take it to that third game. So I'll be taking South Africa head-to-head there.
And I do remain hopeful, like if it does, maybe the Lions do edge out to a lead early on, and the Springboks do need a chance around a bit more in the second half to fight back. They do have certainly they've got the troops. Whether they have the willingness is a different issue. But I think, push comes to shove, they know they can throw the ball around a bit, and they have some weapons to really hurt the Lions out wide. Like Anthony Watson and Van der Merwe, they're very much, shall we say, kick chase and pace merchants. They're probably maybe not the best defense, especially Van der Merwe. I think it can be found out a bit if you turn him around and make him go backwards and actually defend guys in space. Maybe that's an area for the Springboks to exploit a bit more. Maybe Yarko should do a bit more video analysis on the Lions' defensive patterns rather than just break down penalties.
I'll be keeping an eye on his account.
That'll be. I'll just have that up in a separate tab.
I wonder how many followers he's got now. Eh?
It'd be interesting to see what the.
It's gone up.
He's up to 4,000 followers. I bet it was a lot smaller than that about 4 days ago. So
half of those are all working at the IRB.
Yeah, and he's added #burner account into his bio as well. So someone's read on the joke. Yeah.
Is he actually?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
I rate that. That's awesome.
Yeah, his location now in the Springbok camp. That's good. But for a value bet, I'm more just going to, stick with my man, Cheslin Colby, first try scorer, $9. I think across the 3 tests, he's got to get across the line first, one of the 3. It was two of his last 9 tests. He scored the first try last week, so 2 of 10. He's still well ahead on strike rate. Once again, it's a situation where there could just be 1 or 2 tries in the test, and if I had to pick anyone to score a try, he'd be my man. So, going to take the extra value first try scorer. You got a bit of value for us as well, Paul? Or?
Just lock me in as well with Mr. Colby.
All right. Well,
I'm in.
It's good to hear. I could get this feeling you're keen to move along here.
Well, unless we're going to keep talking about the burner account, that's really interesting.
Do you have any other takes on burner accounts?
I don't have any.
All right. I just thought you were keen to move along because you're just really excited to talk about the Bunnings NPC, which is now just 8 days away.
The Bunnings Warehouse NPC?
It's something like that. I still can't figure out how to.
It's called the Bunnings NPC.
Yeah.
How about it's the NPC?
Yeah, having the NPC back in the title is
it's
just great work by Bunnings. We've got shout out.
They'll
to
have
them.
sausage sizzles outside the games.
Yeah, well, it's like
sensational.
Well, they have the Colonel at all the Super Rugby games, like tossing fried chicken stands and all sorts of things. So
you got a Bunnings mascot, your tongs or something. Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Oh yeah, no, it's really lean it, and especially I think they've made a point of going back to some more regional ground, shall we say. You're not going to have so many concrete jungles, especially places like Taranaki. They're going to be playing games at Pukakura Park, and I think a few games at the Tauranga Domain and Bay of Plenty and stuff like that. So it sort of fits in with that lovely community feel of the NPC. We're a throwback to the 90s when the NPC was really in its heyday. So.
What's the speedway track up there in the Bay of Plenty?
Bay Oval.
Bay Oval.
Yeah.
Is that it?
No. They got rid of that one because it's a horrible place to watch rugby because it's in the middle of nowhere and
you're miles from the actual.
The Tauranga Domain's a great little venue. You're right on it.
It's not where they play cricket, do they?
You'd have to ask the host of the cricket podcast, to be honest.
The Bay,
not that Bay. No.
Oh, right.
Yeah, no. It's right down. I don't know if you've been to Tauranga, sort of where you not on the mount, but on the other side of the bridge, just down in the sort of city centre there by the Strand and everything. It's
I know the Strand.
Yeah, just a stone's throw from. I'm not too familiar with the establishments there, so I can't pinpoint where you probably spend most of your evenings when you're up in the bay. But no, that's
not far from Pat Lamb's Bakery.
Feel like we're going in an interesting direction here, but there's probably enough sausage and bakery chat just for now. We should probably give the punters a bit of a steer as they start to look at making a few bets for the upcoming season. Just the outright winner odds for each. For
the championship and the premiership.
Yep, got odds up so far. Tasman favourites to defend their premiership crown, $4 currently as at time of recording, followed closely by last year's losing finalists Auckland at $4.50 and Canterbury, who came so close to being sent down to
relegation,
the championship.
Wow.
They're back $4.50 equal second favourites. If you had to pick someone to lift the trophy this year, are you shopping from the top 3, Paul?
Yes. Can't see anyone outside the top 3.
Right.
Getting anywhere near these guys. You could throw Wellington in the mix, but you probably say that every season. And no, I can't see anyone else. So those squads, well, not everyone's named their squad, but the likely makeup of those squads would suggest that it'd be very, very hard for anyone else outside the top 3 to pick up the premiership this year. I can't see it.
Tasman, they're obviously losing a few big names, like David Havili's not going to be playing as much as he was last year, now being an integral part of the All Black setup. But they're still so deep. I think they've got like 16 Super Rugby guys floating around. Parry Parkinson didn't play for them at all last season, and if he stays healthy, they should get a full year out of him. Oh yeah, for me, obviously the wild card. I know this is a issue close to your heart, Richard. Is maybe a certain outside back who might be suiting up in blue and white shortly. Do you think our man RTS could put Auckland over the top in the Premiership?
Yeah, I'm interested to see how he goes. Like he's obviously played Union, a lot of Union in the past, not for a few years, so it might take him a wee while. I remember sort of when Sonny Bill came back and played for Canterbury, there was a lot of expectation. He probably didn't quite live up to it, but he showed touches of what he was. Originally didn't live up to it, and he worked up to it. But if he can, where do you think he'll play?
I still think he's got to be a midfielder.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
So 12 or 13.
Yeah, I think
which
probably
one?
13.
Probably 13.
Yeah, although he has been playing sort of closer and closer to the right for the Warriors when times this season. So he's got the balance and the ball playing ability to be. But they do have TJ Farney there, right? Who's pretty good, solid. I think he'd look good outside TJ Farney, but there's obviously no Rico Ioane for Auckland in the Marching Cup. So
yeah, but interesting to see if he
and you've got Zahn Sullivan at fullback, who I wouldn't be any anywhere.
You can't take that jersey off.
Awesome, yeah. And it is quite. I mean, defensively, like RTS probably wasn't the. He had his incredible moments, but there were some stats that were sort of against him with what his defence was actually like as a fullback. So maybe just get him in the midfield just to get back into the game. And where did he? Do you know where he played? Union, like in schoolboys and all that.
I think he was midfielder on the wing, right? There's that video of him was playing for the Blue Schoolboys against the Chiefs, where he was in the 14 jersey, right? So he's 13 or 14, one of the, I could be, but I imagine he'll be in sort of that 3/4 line somewhere. Maybe Nathan Brown was just doing New Zealand rugby a solid by chucking him out on the wing and getting him some. Just a lot of league coaches chat on the podcast this week, but yeah,
why not?
Oh no, I'm just saying.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all. Yeah, I mean, plenty wrong with Nathan Brown, but we're not going to get into that.
Wow.
How about you, Paul? What are your expectations from Matt for RTS if he does suit up for Auckland in the next few weeks?
Well, so Sullivan's got the 15 jersey locked up. Caleb Clark will be on one wing, or will he be going into the?
He's in Tokyo, so he's going to have to go through 2 weeks quarantine and everything, right? Yeah.
So that gives.
And will he just go back into the All Blacks setup when he gets back as well? Like,
I don't think so.
Straight away.
I think if they'd go
in the squad.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I'd think that he'd go into the Auckland squad and have put 2 or 3 games under his belt because he hasn't really played any rugby or any 15-man rugby for a couple of months now. So he'll be slotting back in there on one wing. So RTS either on the other wing or at centre. Oh yeah, I agree.
I think centre.
Centre seems the most likely spot.
Old Matt Harry Plummer running around in the 10 jersey, I presume.
Yeah, well, Peter Fetters at Taranaki. Yeah. So
more on them soon.
Now I don't mind the look of them in the championship.
Spoiler alert, but yeah.
Okay. But RTS, I guess he's going to get a good go at centre.
Yeah,
we think, or on the wing. He's going to get a good go somewhere in that Auckland back line. I'm sure that.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah. I mean,
back.
He's
gone back for family, but surely this is like he's got a fullback plan there, and it'd be disappointing not to see him suit up this year.
I get the feeling he probably asked Brown to put me on the wing. Just so he could just.
Well, he was saying, put Walsh at the back.
I reckon he looked at that team and said, geez, I'm going to be making so many tackles if they keep me at fullback. No one in front of me can tackle, so put me out of the way and give me a bit of
my stocks have gone down.
Yeah. I think this move to come home was certainly in the realisation that there's a Marching Cup season coming up, and if he wants to be, his contract with New Zealand Rugby always started on the 1st of November, so he was going to be in play for the end of year tour, and the best way to get on that is to play some 15-man rugby before that. Yeah, I don't think he's going to be, just hanging out down at, the waterfront in Takapuna and having a few flat whites or anything like that.
Where is the end of year tour?
Aren't we playing the US? And then we're heading over to
the test in Dublin, I think. Yeah, it'll be the same sort of thing. I think maybe a test against France lined up as well. It should be a cracker. Cool. Yeah, they'll have their full muster by then.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, looking forward to that one.
Speaking of players coming back from Australia, if you were listening to the Advantage Line podcast, you may have heard Blake Ashford mention Joey Manu's name, and he's keen to come back to New Zealand. And if he was to come back, he's most likely to play for either the Warriors or the Chiefs.
Or the Chiefs.
Well, if he comes back and plays for the Chiefs, he's like, he can move it. We don't have any restrictions here at the moment. Any restrictions once you're in the country. And I think he's getting a wee bit sort of tired of all the lockdowns that they're having over in New South Wales, and of course the restrictions that they've got up in Queensland at the moment. So unless Nick Politis comes up with some big money, I think he could be moving.
Well, there was a report the Warriors were prepared to chuck 7 figures a year at him, weren't they?
Yes, so that could be enticing. Of course, he'd still have to move back to Australia for the season, unless something significant changes in regards to the COVID situation that we have. But if he was to come back and go Chiefs,
well, wait,
because he's a Tokoroa boy as well, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That could, Oh, I'd love to see him.
So does that mean he'd be playing for the King Country? Well,
I reckon.
Is Tokoroa and the King Country, are they part of the King Country?
No, that's the other. Oh, is it? I don't know. Like, I'd have to get my map out.
The Heartland regions.
This is terrible. We should be better with our Heartland knowledge.
Really should be. I wasn't prepared for much Joey Manu chat on the podcast, to be honest. So
just throw it in there.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting one though. One to keep an eye on. I hadn't heard the Chiefs name thrown around, but I know any mail that comes out of Blake Ashford mouth is always very valuable. So,
it's great oil.
Yeah.
Great oil.
One to keep an eye on there, punters. Back to the season at hand though, we've sort of touched on the chances of the 3 leading candidates there. If I had to pick one of those horses, I'm just sticking with Tasman. I think they've proven themselves. They got the job done. They went up to Auckland and won the final last year. As exciting as Auckland's backline could potentially be, I just think in the interim Tasman will have a bit of an edge. If you had to pick one of those 3, who are you backing to lift the trophy pool?
I'm going to go Auckland.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. I like the way the Blues sort of travelled through the Super Rugby season. They're not missing. They are missing a few players to the All Black squad, but I think they've got enough cover there. And with that sort of X Factor RTS coming into the formula, I'll give them a big
Canterbury actually.
Surprise!
Well, you
were just down in Christchurch, weren't you?
Yeah, I was actually.
See any rugby players down there?
Yes, I saw Susan Fijian winger has recently signed for the Canterbury team. Walking around the Riverside Market, he's looking real at home, just exploring the sights, and probably went down to Dimitri's, got himself a souvlaki. That's what I did. And
shout out to Dimitri.
Oh, great spot. But yeah, no, I think like
does he have a food truck?
They missed out a little bit last year, but
because they weren't very good.
But they still finished 5th. They were only one win off. I think they're on the same points as Waikato, so they were who made the semis, so they weren't far off making the semis.
No,
they finished the season strong with wins over Auckland and Tasman. So
one loss away from being relegated.
Yeah. If Auckland hadn't rested all their blokes in the last round, they would have been relegated.
Wow, you would have thought Auckland of all teams would have stacked their team for that game.
Look, I don't know if you're watching Auckland, but you let the country down, and we're not going to let you forget that.
Again, and they're going to pay for it this season. Yeah. Canterbury wins the championship. Premiership, sorry.
All right, so got an interesting split there, but outside of the top 3, if you had to pick a dark horse, Paul, I presume you're just going to take Wellington.
I will.
Dark horse.
Well, look, it's a very solid look about their squad. Pet Cowan comes back from West Australia.
Mm-hmm.
So the front row looks really pretty strong. They've got a wee bit of depth there as well.
Very well coached front row as well.
Surely O'Moore.
He's in the All Blacks.
Yeah, I know, but surely him just sitting there doing nothing does his rugby no good. Does New Zealand rugby no good?
He'll get a good amount of games off the bench. Dane Coles is not playing every week. Current.
Well, if he does get released for the odd game here or there, that's a big plus. Very keen to see Ruben Love in the 10 jersey if he gets a go.
If they had an MVP of the NPC, that's who my money would be on.
TJ Perenara. Will he get
once again in the All Blacks?
Yeah, I know, but does he get some game time? Surely they release some of these. Oh, and of course, let's not forget our very good friend Peter Umaga Jensen.
He'll probably be playing for like Wainui Sevens or something instead of getting selected for the Lions.
Are they through to the final? No.
No. They
Was it MSP?
MSP are playing Tawa in the Jubilee Cup final. Hut Rec, ground number 1, 2:30 Saturday afternoon, and then Poniki versus Petone in
Is it the Hardham Cup?
in the Hardham Cup in a warm up for the under 85s national comp first round. Yeah, squaring off in that.
Poniki against Petone in the Hardham Cup.
Yeah, hard times of
Yes.
David Holwell ain't walking through that door. But, no, it's big Saturday club footy coming up at the Hut Rec. Unfortunately, no odds available, so we can't really talk about that on this podcast. But yeah, Paul's nailed his colours to the mast with the Lions in a shocking turn of events. Rassie, have you got a dark horse in the championship, on the premiership? Sorry, you reckon could.
In the premiership, it's hard to see how that's on the top 3. It'll be interesting to see how Hawke's Bay go coming up. You know, they still hold the shield.
They are,
yeah.
No Whakatava
No
for the season, which is a
huge,
big loss.
So they're at $10. I mean, I can't see them winning, but they might push. No, I honestly can't see anyone winning outside the top 3. I think they're just the quality is just too good up there.
I'm gonna just do what I did last year and say Bay of Plenty are worth a little nudge again. $8.
The Steamers.
Yeah, I don't know if they can win it. I don't know if they could go beat 2 of Auckland, Tasman, Canterbury back to back in the finals. But they're they've just got a really good forward pack. They've got Kurt Eklund there. They've got Nathan Harris as well, former All Black, like really solid depth. I think Aiden Ross, if he is not in the All Black squad full time, he'll be there. So yeah, really impressed with them. Obviously, the halves combination of Tahuri Irangi and Otiri Black, who are both quality Mitre 10 Cup level performers. So they've just got a really well-rounded squad. Gerald Gibson's replacing Clayton McMillan as coach, which probably a little bit of a downgrade after what we saw Clayton do with the Chiefs. But, I think they've got a really strong culture there, what they've built. They've got a lot of really young talent, guys like Chase Tia as well. They've got up from Wellington who, they've really supplemented that core with adding a bit of extra flair out wide. So I'm a big fan of Bay of Plenty and what they've built there. They were great when they won the championship 2 years ago and weren't too far off the pace in the premiership last season. So I could see them doing a job again. But speaking of the championship, I see you've got the Taranaki squad pulled up there, Paul.
I do, yeah.
And you used to be at bookie. Do you want to explain to me how they're paying almost twice as much North Harbour to win the thing?
Get on, punters.
Yeah.
They look like the huge value in both markets. They stand out at $5. I'm just going through their squad. I know there are a number of Barretts in there who probably won't be turning out.
You're not penciling Bowden in for 9 starts like you are TJ with the Lions?
So what happens if things change COVID-wise and the All Blacks aren't going to as many places as they were or playing as many games as they were?
Well, they're just what's going to happen is the Rugby Championship's just going to be played in Perth, isn't it?
Oh, wow. Yep.
Well, it's like that. That's what happened last year. The Australian government will let everyone in, and they'll set up a camp either on the Gold Coast or something, and all the games will be played.
Yeah. So.
I mean, we could get a crossover event, the NRL/Rugby Championship, and just chuck everyone on the Gold Coast, and Storm versus the Pumas on a Saturday afternoon. Yeah,
midget weekend.
I'd like to see Pablo Matera squaring off against Nelson Asafa Solomona. That'd be good fun.
But just looking at that Taranaki squad, they look very, very strong. The Boshiers, they go all right.
Pegasus Sokula as well.
Sokula.
Huge. And the 9 jersey, maybe a bit of a question mark.
Crowley.
Yeah, he's solid. And then you got Perifeta outside him, obviously. The 2 young wingers,
the younger brother
Kini
of
Nahola and Jacob Ratu. Apologies, Jacob, but Nepkins. He's another New Zealand under-20s representative. I think he might even be faster than Nahola on the other.
Ratu Mai Tavuki.
Yeah, he's. I think he's played New Zealand sevens or been in squads, and he's absolutely.
So they've got plenty of speed out wide,
and that pack is more than solid enough to get front football. You're going to have Lachlan Bashir winning turnovers for fun.
Ricky Riccatelli.
Yeah, and Bradley Slater, 2 really quality. Mitre 10 level hookers, NPC hookers. I just think you compare. I looked at the North Harbour squad before, and I was very unimpressed outside of the whole.
How are they favourites?
Yeah, outside of the whole Gatlin sort of axis and the halves, there's not really a lot to get too excited about. So, I'm all.
They got relegated last season.
Yeah. Oh no, Taranaki did.
North Harbour won. Yeah. I know they lost the final. Yeah.
Who did Hawke's Bay beat in the final last year?
It's Northland.
That's right. Yeah.
So bet Otago on semis.
Yeah. No. So it's yeah. I'm not really seeing all the hype around North Harbour. Are you?
I'm going with Otago actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I quite like them. I think they've got a good squad. They've got I think plenty of the squad have sort of played together. I think they've got 19 who have Super Rugby experience. They've got plenty of Highlanders in there. They've basically they can fill their whole back line up with Highlanders squad members from this year, basically. So, I think they're $3.40, so second favourites. But yeah, I think Otago look like a pretty good bet. The outside backs got Fetters, Nariki, Freedom Vakolo.
Yeah.
Midfielders they got Thomas Sudman. Did he get injured, or am I getting confused?
I think him and Garden Bash. That was one I wanted to
yeah.
touch on actually with the Lions. I hope Connor Garden Bashop can get back
Can
on
play.
the park because he was
He deserves that,
for
yeah.
the Highlanders, and
Yeah.
I want to see him and Ruben Love doing some things together. That'd be great. But
Are Manawatu in any of these comps?
they are.
Are they?
$21.
Well, obviously, tragic news last week that Jamie Booth had to withdraw from the squad. Still hasn't recovered from the knee injury picked up in
Oh no.
Hawke's
It's a
Bay
year
at the end
ago,
of last.
wasn't it?
Yeah. So he's had some nerve damage in the knee, so played a game for varsity and said it took 3 days for his knee to come right afterwards. So he's out for the season, which is a massive loss. Obviously, got All Black legend Brett Cameron in the 10 jersey though, and returning championship winning second 5'8" Jason Emery from Japan. So the backline's gonna have a little bit of punch in there. Like it'd be irresponsible of me to say to take the 21s, but we'll cause a few upsets here and there.
Look, I'm not going to say you're looking at it through rose-tinted glasses, but I'm going to say you're looking at this through rose-tinted glasses.
We've got a few Samoa internationals in the team.
Okay.
Look, you brought it up, not me. I was perfectly happy to.
Look,
It was on my list, Dan. I'll tell you $21.
Hold on. If no one here, neither myself nor Rishi hadn't mentioned Manawatu, you were still going to bring it up.
No, I'm just going to wait till we put 40 on counties in the opening game of the season, and then I'll be wandering down Jackson Street with my bucket and my Turbos jersey and my flags.
I'll take the plus 40.5 now.
Well, we'll negotiate something off camera. Might be a bad bet coming up there, but I think that probably, unless there's anyone wants to shout out the Stags or.
Good luck to all the teams.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, the Tony Far at $7 are
interesting.
not the worst bet. Well, they obviously got close last year. It'll be interesting to see. And I just had a look through the squad. They've kept most of the squad from last year, and they've got.
They're always tough up there as well.
Yeah, it was a very tough place to go.
Yeah, they've got 7. I think 7 players who have
Super Rugby
experience.
experience.
Yeah. So,
Rene Ranger still doing
Ranger's
things,
still on the list. Tom Robinson, Scott Gregory, Josh Goodhue.
I always forget Tom Robinson.
Sam Knox, reviews Ray Harner in the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, if I was going to have a roughie in that one,
it would obviously be Manawatu, but other than that,
Yeah.
I knew that's what you were thinking, so I just wanted to finish the
I
sentence for
hadn't
you.
really looked much at Taranaki, and you guys have kind of thrown me off there because that squad does look very good as well. It should be good. It's going to be great to have it back, the old NPC, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, no,
Regular rugby.
Can't wait. Yeah, it's going to be. It's always good to have this just like, and a lot of
There's
these
always
games end
games
up
on as
being
well.
it's like 41-32.
Yeah,
and things
yeah.
There's always a random really
Just
fun
get on
game.
the over every game.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll be
yeah.
chucking your 7 hookers into each other to score tries, multis on every Friday afternoon.
Until they stop scoring.
We haven't got a top try scorer up as time, but what's Andrew Makaleo going to be paying for top try scorer, do you think?
Well, Tasman will be scoring a few, and I'm sure that he'll be scoring a few of them for them. Also, I'm just thinking Hawke's Bay.
Ash Dixon?
Indeed. He knows the way to the try line. And they've got they play the sort of game where lineouts 5 metres out are always going to come to the back of the maul where he will be. So
Who was top try scorer last year? Do you remember? I feel
was it
like
Hooker?
I think it might have been. Well,
I
it was
wouldn't
Cody
be surprised.
Taylor was top try scorer in Super Rugby Aotearoa, right? So the Tyrone Thompson as well, obviously, will be getting a few appearances, potentially even starting for the Lions. He was great value last year. He's a big, solid ball runner, so they'll have to make sure they've got some moves planned out to get him on the end of a few short balls again this season. Was it Rayasi? Yeah.
14.
Ash Dixon, second place though, so
Yeah.
I'm sure
How
we'll be.
many? And Luteru, the harbour hooker.
Yep. He was around there.
That's not bad. 2 hookers in the top 4.
Watch the space. I mean, the rate just keeps rising as well.
I'm definitely in.
Yeah, all right. Tune in next week. We'll have all the which hookers to back more. That'll be the theme of the podcast next week, I'm sure, providing Paul agrees to grace us with his presence. But until then, enjoy the Lions test and enjoy whatever Yako Yoan has to tweet about over the weekend. And we'll
go Yako.
We'll be back to recap it all in 7 days' time. Cheers for joining us, punters.